Curtis Ennis. Know that we've been loyal way back from the beginning. A trusted source for the news. 79th Halas, what it is, what it do. Since Bobby Ingram, Curtis Ennis. Know that we've been loyal even when we wasn't winning. A trusted source for the news. 79th Halas in your ears, you. Since Bobby Ingram, Curtis Ennis. Know that we've been loyal.
What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? As my brother types like he doesn't know that we can hear him typing. Welcome back to 79th Halas. This is episode 163. Not 163, 263 of 79th Halas. This is your boy Scott and Flows. Oh man, here to talk about another miserable week in Chicago Bears football is what we are here to do. Of course, you can follow us on all social media platforms at Barberchair Scott, at Flows and Delaney, and of course follow the Barberchair Network at Barberchair Net. Follow 79th Halas at 79th and Halas on all social media platforms, and of course subscribe to the Patreon, man. Patreon.com/Barberchair Network. You can see right up here on the screen as I bring it up that it'll take you right to the QR code, which will be the four tiers of the Patreon you subscribe to. If you subscribe to the $10 holla, that means you get 25% off your first order at the BCNet shop here, man. You see bcnetshop.com, man. We've got a decent show for y'all today. Waiting for my brother's internet. His internet's been fucking up, so we're gonna bring him in when he's ready. But shout out everybody watching. Man, this has been. I'm running out of creative ways to talk about this team. I'm not gonna lie to y'all, man. Are we back, Joe?
Yeah, sorry.
All right.
Is terrible.
All right, how you feeling?
Apathetic, kind of whatever. Yeah, I mean, how many more ways can you say that a team sucks?
Exactly. That's why I'm pray for all Bears media and content creators, because we're out here running real thin, man. Shout out to Twitter finally working with this stream, because I was like, what the fuck is going on? But we are live on Twitter, and we are live on IG, not IG, but YouTube. But yeah, man, I'm with you. I'm apathetic. I got upset after Sunday. So Orlando says, folks, Coach Carter teaching the youth the right way to hoop. That is hilarious. But I got upset on Sunday. No, not Sunday, but Monday. And the reason I got upset wasn't about the game. I think all of us kind of knew they were going to get blown out. And unfortunately, that's how I feel about the remainder of these games. Outside the Seattle game, I don't think they're going to get blown out. They might actually win the Seattle game, especially if Geno's not playing. But I don't know what Geno's status is. I haven't been paying attention to Seahawks injury reports this week, but I know he didn't return on Sunday against the Packers. But I got angry because these national TV games are a gift from the curse. They're a gift because if you're a good team, that means that the general public cares about you outside of just your own fan base. You know what I'm saying? And people have interest for your team. And at the beginning of the season, man, we were like, oh man, they're gonna get a couple more games flexed in. Like, if you go back and watch everything from any of our preseason podcasts, from the I'm not gonna hold you special, the preseason special that we shot at Pillars, which is actually a comedy show. Now, if you watch the whole preseason episode, it's like a whole 2 hours of cold freezing takes. The only take they got right is this take I'm going to play real quick that Joe got right.
And the way he's built the team is like waking up, putting on your shoes, and then getting in the shower. Like, what kind of process are you doing?
He got his Winnie the Pooh on. He put his shirt on first.
Like, it's a terrible process. And my hope is he knows something that fans and media don't know. And we look at it and all of a sudden that combo is good, because when I saw Ryan Bates and Coleman Shelton in the last practice I attended, they looked terrible. So much that Matt Pryor came in and it was an improvement. So I don't have high hopes for that line. I hope to be pleasantly surprised.
And
I told you niggas. I've been right on 2 occasions today. One I can't speak of, but I've been right on 2 occasions today. And it really came down to basic deductive logic. And here is how deductive logic works. Joe is a human. Joe is a mammal. All humans are mammals. Therefore, Joe is a mammal. Very, very simple. And the deduction I have is football is a game where the offensive line matters. The Bears' offensive line on paper looks terrible. Therefore, it's going to cause problems. That actually may be deductive logic, but therefore, it's going to cause problems. It just looks so bad on paper that I was like, he must not know something I don't. I think the only line I was hopeful for was the defensive line. I thought Javon Dexter would take a bigger leap. Last year, he showed some flashes here and there, but he struggled with getting his body level, his pad level low enough to really make a disruption on the line. He didn't make the leap. While his stats, people will see his stats and say, well, it's better than Jalen Carter. This is where stats don't lie, numbers don't lie, but they don't tell everything. And if you look at the games, you'll see very clearly that he's not playing as well as Jalen Carter. Jalen Carter has beat centers and guards one-on-one. Jalen Carter can take a double team, and he's getting double teamed most of the time and make some noise. Javon Dexter cannot do that. And so when I take in my opinions previously on the offensive and defensive line, I got to say I was mainly right. And the biggest thing that I saw was you're just constructing this bad. Where is the aggression on the offensive line? The biggest thing, and the probably only person I think I like the aggression is Tevin Jenkins. Unfortunately, Tevin Jenkins deals with injuries, and Tevin Jenkins has not had a good year blocking. But outside of that, I don't see the aggression offensive line. I don't see the cohesiveness. I don't see the technique. I don't see the strength. I mean, Coleman Shelton gets put in the backfield almost every single snap. If he isn't on the ground, he's getting pushed back 5 feet, 5 yards. It's just not good. It's not conducive to a winning strategy. And you can only scheme your way out of a sack if you're doing you can only scheme your way out of sacks if you're going to do a jet sweep, you're going to do a bootleg, you're going to do a sprint out. Like, you can only do so much before it becomes predictable and the woes continue. And yeah, I had issues with the line from the get-go. And they were proven right because that offensive line needs a 90% revamp. The only player I want to see on that offensive line is Darnell Wright. Darnell Wright isn't spectacular. He's solid.
Yeah.
And that's unfortunate. Braxton Jones, who I know
is unfortunate because you're going to need more than exceptional from what he was, a 7th pick.
Right. You know what I'm saying? You need exception. You know what I mean?
You need what Joe Alder's doing right now.
Exactly. You need exceptional play from the offensive line. He's just okay. Though I think his technique is his biggest strength. He probably needs to work on his strength a little more. But when it comes to that right side, the Matt Pryor, Ryan Bates, and then Coleman Shelton at the center, all terrible. Left side, Tevin Jenkins, all terrible. Braxton Jones injured, obviously, but his strength has never been where it needs to be. Kieran came in, a Yale student, Ivy Leaguer, did not look like he belonged in professional football. It is a mess on that offensive line. Third rounder. That's a 7th rounder. That's an undrafted free agent. He spent a 3rd round on it. That's neglect. I know a lot of people say, well, it can't be neglect if he used resources on it. You misunderstand what neglect is. Neglect is not that you don't reuse resources. It's that you don't allocate those resources effectively. And when you have an opportunity to use a high-value resource, you spend it somewhere else. Romo Dunze, I'm glad they made the pick, but you should have picked a lineman. And it's not like you're saying anything spectacular from Rome this year, too. The only thing you've seen are drop passes. And so again,
don't tell Rome Daddy that.
You should have spent that pick on an offensive lineman. You had Caleb, you had Keenan, you had DJ. Spend it on a lineman. Rome is great, but you just don't need to do that. I guess the only thing I can think that makes sense is that Keenan Allen is old. He's in his 30s, and he's on a 1-year deal. You're probably not going to get him back. But you could have just signed him for another year or two. He still has it in him. He's still a solid receiver.
I wouldn't be shocked they brought him back on like a 1 year, like a 5
I'd bring him back again. Bring him back again because I don't think Rome is ready to step into that spotlight as a number 2. And then, of course, I think the problem is going to struggle. I think Caleb needs to start getting his Matt Stafford on and forcing the ball into DJ Moore's hands. But that's another story.
Yeah,
but
we'll get into DJ Moore later in the show. I got some things to say about DJ Moore that I'm kind of upset about. But what I was saying was, unless you were done, my bad, I didn't want to cut you off.
Yeah, so he built his team backwards. He did not spend his resources adequately, and now the Bears are suffering for it. Why should he get another chance?
I agree. We're going to get fully in depth into Ryan Poles in a minute, but what I was saying about me being upset was I'm just tired of being embarrassed on national TV, bro. Like that had nothing to do with the loss. Like I knew them niggas were going to lose. Like that wasn't a shock. It was actually closer than I thought it would be. In fact, the number one football thing that I came out of that game was Vikings not that good. Not that good. There was too many offensive possessions where they did nothing. That game went down to like the last 4 or 5 minutes. Like that was my number one football takeaway was this Vikings team ain't that good. But I'm tired of it, man. I'm tired of it. I know Bears fans are tired of it.
You told nobody in the NFC North is going to do any damage.
Well, Detroit could before they got their half team got
that defense
hurt.
is gone. That defense is gone. They're cooked.
The defense is gone. Demo's out for the year.
You're gonna see why I don't think Jahmyr Gibbs was ready for that number one running back role yet. Though he does have the yards, I think he gets more carries. I think the benefit of him and his play comes from having Demo.
Definitely. But yeah, I'm tired of it. I'm tired of people texting me after the games, like even my bad, feel bad. Shut the fuck up. Like I don't want to hear that shit. Like y'all, leave me alone. Like and it's just, and then also I hate when people go out there and tweet about your team. This is for anybody who was a sports fan. Tweet about your team after they watch a national TV game. And if you see my camera shaking, there's a fucking train moving right now. So I can't do nothing about this. So it looks like I'm in an earthquake, but I'm not. What annoys me about it, people who only watch one game, now they got takes about your team that you watch every fucking week and dedicate all your time during the week. And even more for us, I'm at Halas Hall. I very rarely pull the media member card because I don't want to look like an asshole. But sometimes I got to pull that card. Like when people want to tell me about DJ and Caleb's relationship, I think I should have an idea. I see them niggas in the locker room. Like, not to say that I know the full extent, but I have more idea than you do of what their interaction is between each other. But I'm fed up with it. I'm fed up with the whole thing. This is the most disappointing season in my time as a Bears fan. Disappointing. I ain't say worse. I said disappointing. What season is more disappointing than this? You're on mute.
The year after they won the division.
2019 is more. I'm gonna tell you why. They won more games in 2019 than they did right now.
Yeah, but you had high expectations. I did not have high expectations this season. You're coming off of a
win 10 games.
Yeah, but that's not high expectations. They won 7 last year.
I mean, that's still decent expectations.
They won the division in 2019. They went to the playoffs, and if it wasn't for a double doink, they're going to the next round. Like that is a team that could have did a lot of damage had it not been a terrible kicker. The next season, they shit the bed. That is easily more disappointing. This season,
they won 8 games.
This season, you're a 7-win team. The only big difference in that team is that you draft an aging wide receiver and a young receiver in Romo Dunze. You're expecting the quarterback to do a little bit more and probably get you 2 to 3 wins, but that ain't high expectations. It's just a general improvement. It can't be as bad as 2019. 2019, that was an outstanding defense and a solid offense. It should have did more. It was
but even with 2019, I think we expected a lot from Mitch. We all know there was a cap to Mitch, and then this is why was more disappointing. I mean, he was a Pro Bowl backup. He was like the third option, but that's neither here nor there. Like he wasn't like the starter. But the Bears were 8-8. Like that's what I'm saying. Like this team is gonna win less games than last year. That's why to me it's more disappointing. I do believe that team was better, definitely better defense. And this sounds crazy because I hate Matt Nagy I picked up on the Matt Nagy stench earlier than anybody. But Matt Eberflus makes Matt Nagy look like Bill Walsh, and it's terrible. And that's how bad Matt Eberflus was. But to me, that's why it was more disappointing because I expected the offense to look better. I expected this to be a more fun team. And just my expectations of Caleb were way higher than what I had of Mitch Trubisky. I thought that Mitch was going to be better. I thought Mitch had a solid 2018. And then and that's why I think everybody, not just Bears fans, but even the NFL, that was the 100th season. That was the only season where they didn't have the reigning champion open up the season. The reason they had the Bears open the season is I felt a lot of people thought the Bears were going to be better. But I had high expectations for Caleb this year than I did for Mitch that year. That's why, to me, it's more disappointing. But I just think that it's just we had all this excitement, and I'm tired. It's the same thing. And the thing that's the word, shout out to Jay Hood in the chat, said the Bears are broken. Need to make progress. Yeah, and we say this every year. Like, that's what's annoying. It's like rinse and repeat. And I'm finna tell you what's gonna happen these next couple of weeks. We're gonna find out whoever the coach is. Now they might actually get it right, or they might get it wrong. I don't know what's gonna happen. I have no idea. I would hope that Ryan Poles is fired, but I'm not gonna bet on it. Why? Because it's the Bears. I'm not betting on anything till they actually do it. So that wouldn't shock me whatsoever if Ryan Poles comes back and they don't even give him an extension. So that's why, to me, it was more disappointing. But that's why I was mad about it, because I'm just like, I'm tired. And other people talking about your team, and they're throwing all the stuff in our face that, honestly, as Bears fans, we can't say nothing about, because remember, everybody was saying best situation ever. There's no way that they can't do it. Even the Bears can't mess this up, and they messed it up. So I feel like it's a little bit of bitter food that we got to eat, that unfortunately is come back around. And not to say that I don't think Bears fans talking crazy this offseason. I actually thought, for the most part, Bears fans were kind of subdued this offseason. When I walked around and did my tailgate interviews on the first preseason game, everybody was like, I got to see it. So this wasn't like average, Bears over optimism to me.
And that's why I can't call it the most disappointing season, because most fans' opinions were subdued. They saw the hope that they had in Justin Fields and it not panning out, and they weren't going to make the same mistake with Caleb. And most fans didn't make the same mistake with Caleb. And going back to the Mr. Trubisky, I expected a better season for Mr. Trubisky next year than I expected Caleb this year. I think what I said on our previous show was I expected 3,000 yards passing, at least 20 touchdowns, and like 8 to 10 picks or something. Bear in mind, Caleb is on track to get the 1,000 yards. I think he needs like 50. He could get 20 TDs. He needs 3 more. The picks are probably the biggest shocker there. Huh?
I think he'll get 20 TDs. I was shocked about the picks, because I said on the show, this is the NFL. He's going to get more than 5 picks. And by the way, people saying almost picks don't count. It's like when Bleacher Report post dunks that miss. If we can go every quarterback in the league and call and catch almost picks. I don't want to hear.
Patrick Mahomes has about 30.
Yeah, exactly.
But do you hold against Patrick Mahomes? No, because he's the greatest quarterback in the game. And so I say all that to say, Mr. Trubisky, his 2018, he had 32 yards passing, a 2-to-1 interception ratio on the button, 24 touchdowns, 12 passing TDs. I want to say he rushed for like 400 yards. Let's get that 100% correct.
Rushed for 100 yards.
Mr. Trubisky rushed for 421 yards.
What year was this?
2018.
Oh, okay. I thought you were talking about 2019. I was like,
no. So 421 yards, 3 touchdowns. So he's responsible for 21 touchdowns.
He had 24 passing touchdowns, right?
24 passing touchdowns.
And then 3
yards passing, 12 interceptions, 400 yards rushing, 3 rushing touchdowns. That is a very good second year for any QB. And so I expected him, and he cut down on the fumbles that he had the year before. He had 10. He had 5 the next year.
Yeah, he was fumbling machine.
The third year, I'm thinking you're getting 3,500 yards passing, 27, 28 touchdowns, probably 10 or less picks. That's a better season I envision for Caleb than I envision for Caleb. Caleb's still a rookie. And so, my hope was that I thought Caleb's a good enough passer to do what he's doing now. And I've been so pleasantly shocked and surprised and happy at the rookie season he has. And
consider the situation too.
Huh?
He's had the situation
against his coaches. Yeah. He has had 2 different offensive coordinators, 2 different head coaches. And again, he's second in passing touchdowns with a better TD interception ratio than all of them. I'm pretty sure his depth of target is higher than all of them.
Or as some niggas said on Twitter, I call a couple subliminals on Twitter, but we're not gonna talk about that on there. About y'all box score watching. Jaden and Caleb are playing two different games. You know, which is
How many
stupid to
fucking
me.
Commander games I have watched?
It's, right.
Jaden is undoubtedly rookie of the year.
Yeah, easily.
Easily. Bo Nix made it competitive for about 3 weeks, and then
He
Bo
made
Nix,
competitive to this past Sunday, and that Bozo thing popped out.
the past 2 Sundays, he's trended downward. I want to say the week before he had 2 interceptions, and then this week he had 3 interceptions. And those easy touchdowns he got to make it 3 touchdowns, 3 picks. Again, this is how you're not box score watching. You're watching the game. I'm like, no. We know what you were doing. Those passes were not even close to getting to the receiver. They were gifted to the defensive backs. And so when I take that, I look at the stats, but then I watch the game. Jaden is having a better year easily. You don't have to be blind to see that. To say they're playing 2 different sports, come on now. Do I think that Caleb has better skill players? I do. Yeah. But what does Caleb have that but what does Jaden have that Caleb doesn't have? A better offensive line, a better coaching situation, completely better coaching situation. It makes the game easy for him. And that the difference between Caleb and Jaden is that I've never felt Caleb had to be Superman this year. I never felt he had to be Superman to win. The Hail Mary throw was just a terrible defensive breakdown. It wasn't he's Superman. No, he threw it in there, should have got picked. It got tipped, went to the player. So no, I never felt that he had to be Superman for them to win. You know.
And then people will be like, no,
don't had to be Superman.
People like,
even Thomas Brown said, go be Superman.
Yeah, he did say that. But people like, no. Y'all said best situation. Yeah, preseason. But there's a thing called football. Wrong. In football season, you can adjust your points. Like that's the stuff that annoys me.
We thought it would have been a better situation too. It's wrong.
Let's talk reality. Reality right now is no, he's not in the best situation. And so this is the thing I hate about the Caleb hate, as I want to call it. When people are like, oh, well, it's not really Caleb hate. But there's other quarterbacks get talked. That don't mean it's not hate. Yeah, Jalen Hurts gets shit talked about him. Yes, Justin Herbert gets shit talked about him. Yes, Mark Jackson gets shit talked about him. That don't mean it's not hate. You know what I'm saying? Like that's hate too. We all know that just from the jump that people didn't like Caleb Williams. This goes back to USC. People didn't like how he jumped from Oklahoma to USC. People in general just don't like USC as a program. Because it's in the LA sports spectrum for whatever, niggas just don't like LA sports teams. Right. So that has something to do with him being a Heisman winner, him being the first NIL quarterback. He paints his nails, cried in his mama lap after the loss last year. Niggas already didn't like him. Add that on with the Bears tax. Add that on with the ridiculous high expectations. Not from us, but those people out here like next Mahomes. And we've always said, at least I can't speak for nobody but me, you, and I'm not gonna hold you, Cass. We have never said Patrick Mahomes. I'm not comparing nobody to Patrick Mahomes. But everybody else say next Patrick Mahomes. So yeah, he's gonna have these expectations, and when you don't meet him, people just want to go in on the kid, calling him soft. We talking about body language. Look, man, all respect to Dan Orlovsky, but he said some of the dumbest shit I've heard this week. Saying that he's regressing and he's to blame for a lot of the stuff he's doing. Emmanuel Acho is an idiot. We already know that. He's going on here talking about, look at the body language. Nobody's gonna care about the NFL. You can't be rolling on the bench like that. Dude, did you watch the play before? He got tackled into Earth's crust. You know what I'm saying? Like, and then people call him soft. Let you get hit by that big nigga on the Vikings. Let's see how you act. As somebody who's been to practice, I'm at Halas almost every week. We at these post-game press conferences. I give him a lot of credit because even I thought, okay, how is he going to handle the Chicago media? LA media is one thing, Chicago media a whole other thing. And he has handled it with grace. He ain't went up there pointing at nobody. As bad as Matt Eberflus is, and he knows Matt Eberflus was bad. He did his best to not throw that nigga under the bus after that Thanksgiving game. So that's the kind of stuff I don't like when it comes to Caleb Williams, that we're lying about his season because y'all don't like him. Do I think that Jaden Daniels is a better quarterback right now? He's having a better season. And I truly believe if you ask all the GMs who drafted third, if you ask the Commanders GM, you ask the Patriots DM, if y'all had the number 1 pick in this draft, redo it, are you still taking Caleb Williams? They're gonna tell you yes. They're gonna 100% tell you yes. And if you look at the numbers, he's on his third offensive coordinator isn't that now, his second head coach. He's playing well for what it is. And this is not me shooting him bail or making it seem like he's blameless. No, he played terrible on Sunday. He played terrible. We will take that stat pad and touchdown that he threw to the Keenan Allen. But he was terrible. He had his deep ball accuracy has been a problem this year. His holding on to the football. There was plays in that game that had me yelling run. There was one play where there was nobody in front of him. All he had to do was run 2 yards, get the first down, and he just stood there like there was somebody blocking him just so he could get the pass off. So I'm not saying he's perfect, but he's making regular rookie mistakes that if they get the right coaching hire, big if now, that can get cleaned up. But he's out here playing well. Everybody who wants to bring up almost interceptions, okay, let's bring up the almost 4 game-winning drives he had this year. Since you want to talk about almost. When we bring up the almost game-winning drive, you say, well, there's no such thing as almost game-winning. Well, there's no such thing as almost interceptions either, nigga. Is it Uchi Wally or is it one Mike? We're not having honest conversation here. If the kid is in a better situation, I believe the sky's the limit. I think if they get this right, and probably not, it's the Bears. I have to see it. But I'm pleasantly surprised that he is playing this way with as bad as it's been. Kyron Amagaji, you could have had me out there, my nigga. It'd have been the same results. Like, it's just terrible. And Poles was so arrogant. Like, the nigga was hurt when he drafted him, too. Like, I forget the part that, forget the part that he actually drafted him as a project in the 3rd round. The nigga was hurt. Like, that's even funnier. And I like Torrey Taylor as a punter, but that might be the most arrogant picks ever now in retrospect. You know what? We're so much good as a team. We're going to take a punter here, nigga. That's just crazy to me. Anything else you want to say about the Caleb discourse before we go to the next topic?
My biggest issue is that with national media, I tend to not pay attention to their takes. And it's not because, to discriminate or exclude their opinion, but it's hard to be a national media person and truly know what's happening in a team because your entire gaze is on everything. You're probably watching the big games that are happening, that are being televised. You're watching the Sunday night football, the Monday night football, Thursday night football. It's only so many games you can watch. For instance, I can't confidently tell you the season Justin Herbert is having. I don't watch Charger games. The only thing I can do is box score watch. I could say, looks like he's having a good year. And then a Charger fan can tell me, he's not. Again, I don't know. Like I said, I could just average. But what I do watch are the 3 rookies, Bo Nix, Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels. Obviously, covering the Bears, being in Chicago, I watch Caleb Williams the most. Jaden Daniels and Bo Nix are second. One, because I had high hopes for Bo Nix coming out of college. I thought he was the most ready out of the 3. And then Jaden Daniels, obviously, he's the high one. People are saying, well, they should have took him first. So I had interest there. And having watched all 3, and especially Caleb, I think that the opinions of national media are going to be ignorant because they just don't know. The biggest issue that Caleb Williams struggled with is, one, using his legs more often to get a first down, to go past the line of scrimmage and run. He'll extend the play, but he'll look for the pass too often. He is not the runner that Justin Fields was. Not many quarterbacks in the history of the NFL are. But he is more than capable of running past D ends, D tackles, and getting himself several yards. You showed it. There was 7 games we had 60 yards rushing. He can do that constantly. He needs to do that more. Secondly, sometimes he likes to avoid trusting his receivers to make a play. He wants to get them open. He wants to put them to a spiral open. Sometimes you need to tell them it's time to make a play. There are instances where he had an NFL window. He threw the Rome, checked at the line. After he checked at the line, he noticed that I want to say it was the safety bit on the left side of the field. Rome went in for a post, it looked like. Again, I can't verify the route, and Rome dropped it. That is, first of all, that's on the money. That's an NFL throw, tight window. Rome should have came down with it. But those type of things don't happen often from a rookie. I don't see most of that from Jaden and Bo. Yeah. And so That being said, he needs to do it more often. He needs to be able to trust his receivers. Sometimes it feel like, he didn't make it, I'm not going back to him. No, you got to go back to him. The Matt Stafford school of quarterbacking is, I'm going to you again. You're going to get the football. He will find Puka is getting the ball the same way Calvin is getting the ball, the same way Cooper Kupp was getting the ball. He needs to do the same thing. Holding on to the ball, not taking the first downs are his biggest issue. When it comes to understanding the game, it's clear he understands it. I love that sometimes he takes agency. He checks at the line when he noticed something. He just needs to do more of it. All the tools are there. And in addition, what can you point to this year? What game besides the first two can you truly say was just, this was bad? Now, I'll take that back because last game was not good. But out of those three, what can you say that's just abhorrent? Abhorrent. Like when you say we box score watch, I understand that was garbage time touchdown. Though if he didn't fumble, they probably would have got themselves within scoring range. But I understand that is when the team's up by 3 scores, he got this touchdown. But there are so many games this year where he has just played phenomenally. Can we
address this comment real quick?
He is a rookie. He is a rookie.
This comments all the same people.
All the same people who blame Fields for everything. Well, one thing's for sure is that you are talking to the wrong people with Justin Fields. If anything, we gave endless excuses for Justin Fields. Matter of fact, go to my Twitter. Again, I told you how biased I was.
I gave more excuses for that nigga than he deserved, man.
Like, so I think, I don't know if your anger is misdirected and because you're a Justin Fields fan, you watch our podcast and think, oh man, they're making excuses. We're the wrong people to make that too. It doesn't fit. That's not a good
look, man. Justin.
It's not valid because we weren't those people.
I love Justin, but Justin is flipping burgers in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I always say this for some Bears fans, the vision of Justin Fields in their head is better than the actual Justin Fields. And if we're making excuses for a rookie, what would that say about the excuses we're making for him last year, in his third year? Go back and look at our Twitter. Go back and look at our past episodes. We said it many times. Justin's in a shit situation. The reason that both of us said they should draft Caleb Williams because it's the number 1 pick. You don't mess this up, and you got to pay Justin Fields eventually. He had 3 years. He didn't do much. It was a bad situation, but also it's like this. Caleb has done more this year than he did in any of those 3 years, no matter how many excuses we make it for him. And I'm honestly tired of talking about it. It's week 16. Justin Fields don't care no more. Justin Fields is going to the playoffs as a backup with Russell Wilson. And that's not disrespect to Justin. It is what it is. Russ is about to get a fat contract to come back in Pittsburgh, and I don't believe Justin's going to be a starter again in the NFL. It is what it is. And that's nothing. That's not disrespectful to him. It's just if we're giving excuses for Caleb, you're giving excuses for somebody who is on the bench right now. And I'm tired of bringing it up every time. When I brought up the stats, niggas like, oh well, look at the situation. I said the situation last year. I said it last year. I said this time last year I was saying the same thing. Like, man, there's other problems on this team besides it. But what I also said last year, and I stand by it now, I said Justin is a win with guy. Caleb can be a win because of guy. I still believe that statement. It's one season, bro. Look at CJ Stroud. That's why you can't get too high, get too low on anybody after their first year. Look at CJ Stroud. When was the last time he threw a touchdown? It's been a couple weeks. It's been a couple weeks to CJ, and he had an incredible season last year. That nigga ain't thrown over 200 yards in like a month. You know what I'm saying? Like, and thank you. Yeah, this is what we saying, Hood. He's a backup, bro. But we kept saying better coaching. Okay, he has arguably the best coach in the sport. At worst, a top 3 coach. And Tomlin was like, nah. So I'm not trying to hit it no more, man. Let it go. Let it go. We are figured on this situation right now. That's all I gotta say about that, man. But let's move on to Ryan Poles. Because Ryan Poles, you didn't got rid of Matt Eberflus. You didn't got rid of Shane Waldron. You didn't got rid of last year. You got rid of Luke Getz. You didn't got rid of all these people. I think they done fired like 14 coaches up to this point in 3 years. So all these niggas is gone. We can sit up here and feel bad for Matt Eberflus for getting fired out the holiday. Matt Eberflus is getting paid $10 million. I think he's gonna be fine. I think he's gonna be fine. If I got paid $10 million to not coach them bums, I would be feeling amazing. So Matt Eberflus will be fine. But all these other guys are out, and now it's just Ryan Poles, and now you're starting to look with him. I understand what Kevin Warren said. I was at Halas Hall 2 weeks ago when he said it. When he said Ryan Poles is our general manager and will be our general manager. I get it, but guess what? Stuff changes. Stuff changes, and now you're starting to look at the culture of this team. Remember, everybody said, "Oh man, it's what happened when Flus got fired." What did DJ Moore and the rest of the locker room say this week? Oh, it's like a breath of fresh air in the building this week. Feels so much better. Guys are more dedicated. Look, and Cole Kmet, man. Look, this Cole Kmet is going more and more where I think that active players should not have podcasts. I'm not going to sit up here and say athletes shouldn't have podcasts because I think that's blasphemous. If I can come up here and talk sports, that an athlete can't talk sports, I think that's crazy. But active players need to shut up because as bad as he's been playing, I don't want to hear that nigga in front of a microphone talking about we just got to play better. Like everybody's talking about how good it was during the week. Everybody's talking about that, and then you just got out there smacked by a team without their best defender, their best offensive lineman, two of their running backs got absolutely shellacked. So that culture comes down to the general manager. And like I said, I'm not gonna say that Ryan Poles is gonna get fired until he actually does it because this is the Chicago Bears. It would not shock me whatsoever if they bring him back and have him do this coaching search. Which I say this: if you want to bring Poles back, fine. Give him an extension then. Give him an extension. So now it's like, okay, we have our full support behind Ryan Poles. Either give him an extension or fire him. But Pete Bears will be bringing him back as a lame duck GM. And what head coach is going to want to sign with that? Whatever head coach signs with that is not the coach you need to be hiring. So I believe that it's getting to the point of no return for Ryan Poles to where Kevin Warren, even if he doesn't want to get rid of him, he's going to have to. I don't see how you let him conduct a search. If you're Ben Johnson, if you're Joe Brady, if you're Mike Vrabel, if you're Liam Cohen, why would you want to head up, take your wagon and hitch it to somebody who might get fired next year? That just don't make any sense. And stop listening to people who not in the building tweeting about, well, he could be fired or he might not be fired. Y'all don't know what's going on. Shut your mouths. But I just feel that I feel like he has to. Hold on, let me. I feel like he has to fire Ryan Poles, but I'm not confident that he will.
Yeah. So, I look back on my time before I covered the Bears, and I understand the feelings of fans. Like there are quite a few pages who are anonymous, tweeting out tips and everything. And what I think a lot of people are falling a trap to is confirmation bias. You see a pattern that's not there, and then the person who is making these fake patterns is telling you it's this, it's that, and a lot of stuff seems to just be common sense. I don't know who's in the walls and who hears things. For some people, they might know a person who works close up at the Bears. It could be, my uncle is freaking Ryan Poles' assistant, and then from there they hear these spooks. Takes could be, but if you didn't hear it from the name source, if you didn't hear it from Biggs, if you didn't hear it from Weeder, if you didn't hear it from Rappaport, those people, I wouldn't take it into account. Me and Scott are young in our career in covering the Bears. We do not have the resources, the scoops like everybody else does, and we won't act like we do. We're not going to say, "Oh man, so I've heard." No, as of right now, we simply don't know, and because we don't know, we're not going to fake the funk and tell you what can or will happen. What I can say, though, is if I look at this as objectively as I can, the Bears would be making a mistake to allow a man who has not shown any progress in his 3 years of molding and building this team. You started off, how many wins did they have in his first year? 3, 2, 3, 4?
It was 3.
I can't remember 100. 3. Next year, you get 7. This year, you're probably going to end up with 5. This does not show any progression. It's not even enough to show a regression. It's just bad. It's just bad across the board. And because it's bad across the board, you have a young, talented rookie quarterback. You're going to completely change that coaching staff. So he is going to be on. He's on his 3rd offensive coordinator. Shane Waldron, Thomas Brown, and I forgot the name who replaced him. He's going to
Jerry
have 4
Jones.
offensive coordinators in a singular year. You cannot allow the person who put him in this situation to have another chance. That just seems to be objective. It seems to be sound. And that is what we take it from. And so I believe that Kevin Warren has a chance to really change the Bears. And I don't really care about the culture change. I just want efficiency. I want efficiency. I want smart football. And I don't trust the Bears to do that. That's just my personal take.
Yeah, I don't trust him either. I don't think anybody should trust him. I think that I am going to refrain very hard from the getting excited before I see it on the field thing, because I'm tired. I need to see results. Next thing I want to bring up is, there's been a lot of different opinions on just how far the Bears are from being contention. Like I've said on this show, like I've said on I'm Not Gonna Hold You, like I've said on Twitter, I don't believe there's such thing as rebuilds in the NFL. It's retools. Because it's such a year-to-year league. It's such you can be in last place one year and be in first place the next. Just look at the Vikings. You know what I'm saying? That's an example right there. Detroit was 7-9 one year, the next year they're in the damn NFC Championship game. That is just how the NFL is. There's been a lot of close games this year. I believe there's a lot of holes on this team. But I also don't feel Jay Hill said, "Shit, this is where I go to get my info." I appreciate that. Some stuff I do know, but sometimes I don't. In the words of Roman Roy, I'm smart, but I'm dumb. So what I do know, I will tell y'all. but I feel that I don't feel like they're that far away from competing. Now, I think you gotta fill those holes up before you can actually make a Super Bowl. But I'm gonna keep saying in NFC. I said this on I'm Not Gonna Hold You on Friday, and Bang cussed me out over this. I said I'm not worried long term about the NFC because I don't think there's a juggernaut in the NFC. In the AFC, it's the Avengers. You got to deal with Patrick Mahomes. You got to deal with Lamar Jackson. You got to deal with Joe Burrow, even though they stink right now. You got to deal with Joe Burrow. You got to deal with Josh Allen. You know what I'm saying? And if you give some niggas who he can throw to, you got to deal with Justin Herbert. Eagles are great. Jalen Hurts don't put any fear in my heart long term. I'm sorry. Jordan Love is really good. He has a bozo gene. Sam Darnold, I believe, is going to be on another team. Jared Goff, really, really good. But if you take Ben Johnson, then you take their soul. So to me, there's things where it's easier to build in the NFC. I feel right coaching can make this team compete. I'm not saying they'll win the division. But I feel like a year of the right moves can at least have you competing, in my personal opinion. How do you feel how far they are from at least being a team that's competing for a playoff spot?
3 years.
From competing for a playoff spot?
You got too many holes. You have to figure out who is going to, if, we're going to get into DJ Moore, you have to figure out that you have to figure out if DJ Moore is going to be the guy. You have to figure out if Rome is going to have show improvement. You got to figure out if you have to keep Keenan. The whole offensive line outside of Darnell Wright needs to be fixed. Then you have to go to the defensive side of the ball. All you have is Montez Sweat. DeMarcus Walker is a good depth piece, but that's about it. Javon Walker is not going to be your 3-tech of the future. You have to figure out if Jaquan Briss is going to play football again. Tyree Stevenson is clearly not going to be your second corner. You then have to figure out, what's going to be the base defense of this now? The Eric Washington is probably going to be fired. That is a lot that can't be fixed in one season. That's why I say 2 seasons. And so maybe I should say, 3. So 1 off season.
I'm not saying win a division. I'm talking about to compete. I'm talking about compete for a final wild card spot.
They are a bad team. I think we underestimate how bad of a team they are. If you have 2 terrible lines on the offense and defensive side of the ball, you're a bad team. They're not good. You have to replace everyone on the line except 1 person on each side. So that's 4 people offensively, 3 people defensively, and they have to be very good. That doesn't take 1 year. That takes more. It's a long time.
I believe it takes more to win a division. I don't believe it takes more to compete for a 7th seed. I think with the right moves, you can compete for a 7th seed. In the NFC, I believe.
No.
I believe it's a bad team. There's holes, but compete. I don't believe any team in the NFL is 3 years away from competing for a wild card spot, unless you just like the Giants, nigga. And you got, you don't even have an answer quarterback.
Team that has to replace every single coaching position, 90% of the offensive and defensive line. You only going to win 4 games this year, maybe 5. That's not going to change in the season.
I believe it can competing for a playoff spot. I believe they're 2 years away from winning a division.
You're going to have to win 5 more games, replacing all those people. No.
I believe with the right coaching staff, you can. I believe the right coaching spot, you can. I just don't believe in the NFL. It takes a couple years to compete. I'm not saying that you even get.
Yeah, it takes a couple years to compete. This is a second rebuild. You have to replace left guard. So you have to replace left guard, center, right guard. Oh, left tackle as well. You have to replace both interior line positions. The other defensive end, probably looking to what's going to happen with Jaquan Brisker. You may have to get Tremaine Evans. So that's 9 positions, and then you have to deal with your head coach, offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator, all the assistants that come with it. That's 20 plus people.
Yeah, but you're not gonna feel like some of these guys come back next year. They're not gonna refill the entire team. Like they're not gonna. Oh, we need to refill everybody on the offensive line. Some of these guys are coming back. Like and so I get that. I think from a division standpoint, I agree. I just don't believe they're that far off from competing for a final wild card spot. If with the right coaching, I believe that can change. But we could be arguing about this all damn day. Let's go on to the rest of the game. So we got Detroit this week. We got on a short week. You got the Seahawks on Thursday Night Football. Those are the final 2 home games, and then you close the season either that Saturday or Sunday, first Saturday and Sunday of the new year. We won't know till the actual week what day it'll be in Green Bay. So my question for you, is this team going to go winless and finish on an 11-game win streak, which would be the second double-digit losing streak of the Ryan Poles era, or do they find a way to win a game or 2? Do you feel like they will go winless the rest of the year, or do you think they're going to be able to grab a game or 2? You think they're going to go winless?
Winless.
I think they can go winless. Huh?
There's no win there. Geno Smith also depends on Geno Smith's health. If Geno Smith comes back, they're definitely going to lose. You have the Lions up this week. Though they're struggling defensively, offensively, they're going to murder you. And then you're going to finish with the Packers. I doubt they rest anybody. Jordan Love is going to take you to task.
They got to clinch. They ain't clinched.
Jordan Love is going to take you to task to get that spot. Yeah, you're going to get cooked.
Man, I'm gonna say that they're gonna beat Seattle. I have no actual faith that they'll win this, but I maybe I just need a win, but I think if there's any game for them to win, it will be Seattle. But I definitely wouldn't bet money on it. Wouldn't bet money on it that they're gonna win any games. Let's wrap this up. We already said the Bears gonna lose to the Lions on Sunday, so I guess we can just give a score. Will Sunday be close? What's your score for Sunday?
28-10 Lions.
28-10 Lions. I think this play has been made on that defense, man. Detroit plays a little different in the code. I still think Detroit will win, but I'll say 24-14 they'll win. Lions win 24-14.
I think the only issue is that we'll have to deal with I have to see how the Lions play with the loss of Demo full time. But they're just a better team. And the Bears defense stinks.
That defense is really beat up for the Lions. So I'll give them that, but they're still gonna lose the game now. So that's all we got for y'all today. This is the last. Well, it's actually not the last. We're gonna pod after the game on Sunday, so no, it's not the last. But anyway, Flows will be joining me on Friday on I'm Not Gonna Hold You holiday special. got a lot of guests. I will announce those guests either tomorrow or Friday. We got a lot of guests on there, so we'll talk. When I'm not dedicating the hour to the Bears, there'll be no local hour this week. We're gonna talk about the Bears, but like throughout the show,
Right.
throughout the show. You know, it's holidays. It's too much good football on this week. We got the college football playoffs. You know, we got NFL games on Saturday this week. You got a good week 16 slate lined up. There's stuff to talk about in the NBA that happened just this week. Some baseball. So it's not, and then we're gonna do our holiday grievances list that we'll talk about on the holiday special as well, man. So we appreciate everybody for watching, for supporting. And of course, man, you can follow us on all social media platforms at Barberchair Scott, at Flows and Delaney. Follow the Barberchair Network at Barberchair Net. Follow 79th and Halas at 79th and Halas on Twitter as well, man. Of course, you can subscribe to our Patreon, patreon.com/Barberchair Network. If you're watching this on YouTube, you can take your phone right to the screen and it will take you to all of the 4 different tiers. If you subscribe to the $10 holla, you get 25% off on your first purchase on the bcnetshop.com, man. So yeah, man, I will holler at y'all on Friday. If I'm not gonna hold you holiday special, we up out of here.
Since Bobby Yagam, Curtis Ennis, know that we've been loyal way back from the beginning. A trusted source for the news. 79th Halas, what it is, what it do. Since Bobby Yagam, Curtis Ennis, know that we've been loyal even when we wasn't winning. A trusted source for the news. 79th Halas in your ears, you. Since Bobby Yagam, Curtis Ennis.